I prefer Stable Diffusion on Mac, and I have three good reasons why. I haven't had to think about viruses on my system since 2014. I want to say even further back, but I know for sure since 2014. When you look at all the user interfaces that people are developing for Stable Diffusion, it's a whole hogwash of coding and all these complex terms. I just really want to create. I don't have time to be going into the terminal and messing around. The whole reason why I'm in the Apple ecosystem is once I install something, it's one click and it just works. I don't have to think about, man, I got to do a virus scan, I got to do hash, I need to go into the terminal. Who wants to do all that? I don't have time for that. I just want to create. That's all. So, number one, I don't have to think about someone entering malicious code in all these models. If it happens, it happens. But so far, I've been doing just fine and it's working great. I don't have to know how to code. I don't need to know the terminal. I just got this app that I use, Draw Things, free. And the developer keeps on updating it. And as far as I can tell, everything that you can do in Stable Diffusion, you can do in Draw Things. And it's just evolving, gets better and better. Reason number two why I prefer Stable Diffusion on Mac, I don't have to worry about my details getting stolen, right? This ties back to worrying about viruses. I don't have to worry about giving my payment details to a third party who's going to end up using it. I used to use the services of this VPN service that you've seen sponsoring YouTubers all over the place. And I had a specific card that was linked to that company and nowhere else. Only they had the details for that card. You know what happened when it was time to renew? Almost a year later, all of a sudden I wake up, I see all these messages on my phone. Transaction. Nothing big, just $1 transaction, $1 transaction, and it's hit Microsoft something something. And I knew at the time, back then, I did not have a Microsoft subscription whatsoever. So this seems fishy. But when you see your messages, it doesn't seem like a big deal. It's just $1. But it's $1, $1, $1. Open the message app, and it's a long list that's just continuing. And these charges are still going off immediately. I didn't have to think someone stole my details. I knew that this one company was the only place where my bank card was used, where they had my details. And long story short, because I logged into my bank account and canceled that card, it wasn't worth the bank chasing down what I had stopped because it wasn't a big enough amount. But had I not caught that early in the morning, that would have been going off on and on and on. And I suspect because of the time zone of where I was living at the time, this person that was doing it was probably hoping that it was in the AM and I was asleep. But given the time zone, it was in the morning, so I caught it in time. Otherwise, who knows? They would have cleaned that. So, with the Apple App Store, I don't have to think about that at all. My details are with Apple, and the developer gets paid when I use their services and pay for their services. If anything goes wrong, all I need to do is just press unsubscribe. And that's it. I don't have to worry about some third party somewhere has got my details and then now they're just going to be charging and charging and charging. It's basically fraud. I don't have to worry about that being in the Apple ecosystem. But again, like I said, when it comes to Stable Diffusion, this free app that I'm using, don't have to pay for it. It's free. But at the same time, it's also, by the way, no sponsorship from Draw Things. This is just me. I actually use it, simplifying tech, and this is perfect for getting to play around with Stable Diffusion. Anyway, on a tangent. Reason number 3 why I prefer Stable Diffusion on Mac. Well, Apple has streamlined the user experience. Now, if you're using Stable Diffusion with all these other platforms that people are putting together, you need to know how to work in the terminal. You need to know coding terms. You need to know, oh, save tensor, save this, know file type, where to put it. Now, from my understanding, part of the Swift language and app in the Apple world, when developers are working with this, they're actually forced to consider the user experience to make it as seamless as possible. All I want to do as a user is just install something, one click, and then just sort of intuitively figure out how to use it. And that's what Draw Things is like. I don't have to, okay, I can decide where I want to save my models, so it's giving me that level of control. But at the same time, everything is either click and download through the app and install, or download as usual from the internet. Kind of risky doing it that way, and then install. And I trust that the vetting happening in the Apple App Store means things are not going to be slipped in there to steal my details and do all sorts of things to my machine. And guess what? When I switch on my machine tomorrow, it's going to be working. It's not all of a sudden going to be like, ding, ding, update required, drivers not, driver, update driver. Do you know how much I hate that message? Update your drivers. Whew. Anyway, basically Stable Diffusion on the Mac is a much better experience.